Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Just One Question. I'm your host, Lion Flood. We are going to get right into it. We have a special guest today. I told you guys about already. I'm extremely excited about it. But before we do that, we have a little housekeeping from our sponsors and announcers. So let me go ahead and get that out of the way.
You're listening to Just One Question with your host, Lion Flood. This podcast is brought to you by Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
Hey, welcome back. So, I want to first thank all of the listeners and the viewers, no matter what platform you are listening or watching on, because without you, hey, I'd just be talking to myself. Oh, I think I would still enjoy that, but I enjoy talking to you guys more. So, without any further ado, I want to just kind of tell you a little bit about our guest that's coming up, and then we're going to get a chance to meet her. But a little quick backstory on this before. So, as in my search, I was looking for someone to bring onto the podcast because I actually listen and read those emails and things that you send me, and you're talking about, hey, we want to know about social media and social media. So I said, let me try to find that. So we found each other, and in that process, I actually remembered, like, wow, we met before, and I was actually on her podcast at one point. So that really excited me to that. But let me tell you about K.M Robinson. She is a social media educator, a speaker who helps entrepreneurs build profitable businesses through smart social media marketing with easy content creation. She's been spotlighted by Facebook for her innovative work in the field and has appeared on CBS, NBC, Business News Daily, and even with all of that, she still finds times to write. She's a best selling fiction author, and we're going to get a chance to meet her in just one moment because you know what we got to do. We have to ask that one question. Oh, where do we go from here? Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big warm welcome to our guest coming up, K.M. Robinson, social media ex marketing speaker. So, KM, thank you for being here. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Oh, wow, we got a post already. Someone said, before we even get into that, for our listeners, I'm bringing up on screen. This is my number one supporter. Actually, it's my wife. No matter what I do, she comes up. But she says, I love watching your show and I can't wait to hear what's coming up. So tell the audience and the listeners a little bit about yourself and, kind of what you want them to know.
Hi, everybody. I am so excited to be here today, and I'm so excited to be able to chat with you again, my friend. I am a social media marketing educator and speaker. I help entrepreneurs to create easy content for social media that does not take a ton of time and effort so that they can make more money off of TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, live streaming, and I help them grow their businesses online. I'm also a multi-time best-selling fiction author, so if you need an escape from your life or your business or the daily grind, I've got you covered on that aspect as well.
Wow, I love that. And I'm going to tell you because this subject is dear to my heart because I am one of those old dinosaurs and I'm just starting to learn about social media. I was like, you know what? I have to gravitate towards the time if I want. I have to adjust to it. I don't want to be one of those old fogies that's like, no, I will not learn these TikToks and stuff. Someone's a little bit crazy. But the one thing you said that just grabbed my attention is when you said the word easy because I start to learn. I'm reading books, I'm watching videos, and I'm just like, it's so overwhelming. What got you kind of going into this arena here?
It's so funny because I never intended to teach marketing. I was always helping with different industries. Specifically, back in the day, I was helping the publishing industry learn how to take photos of their books and market it online. And it evolved from there, where I ended up teaching social media strategy. And over the years, I found people just struggled so much creating their content because it feels like this big, overwhelming process when it doesn't have to. It can be as easy as doing an entire photo shoot in under 3 minutes, which is something I teach people how to do. I teach people how to create content for TikTok or Instagram or even YouTube in just a couple of minutes so that they can put content out online, be present and conversational with their community, but then have time to run their business and live their best lives and take care of their families and go on vacations and do all these fun things while still being there for their audience without that overwhelm. Because I watch so many people struggle and so many people just destroy everything that they were trying to do in order to create just a tiny bit of content to put it out on social media and hope and pray that something worked, where they could be creating a lot of content very easily, very quickly, and then moving on with their lives. And no one else was teaching how to do things quickly and effectively so that you didn't get stressed and overwhelmed and overworked. So I stepped up and I started teaching people how to do it. And now I've been able to help millions, actual millions of people reduce their workload on their content so they can now run their businesses and do the things that they love to do.
Ladies and gentlemen, all of that she said, if you do not get in touch with her to try to find out how you can learn to do this in that manner that she's speaking of, I'm just going to say it. I don't want to call you crazy, but you're a little crazy because I'm going to start to do it. I was looking at her website and reading some of this stuff. And it's for me, I am a simplified person. If I look at a web page or I see something and it just seems too overwhelming, I leave, right? I'm 7 seconds and I'm out. But it's so great to like scroll through and it's like, oh, there's the item I need. Let me go to that. And it made it so much easier for me to start to learn that. And one of the things that I think that you mentioned just there is that it is a necessity in a sense. At this point in time in our world, where the world is going, if you don't want to learn it, you're gonna get left behind, right? It is like the essence
Yep.
of what you can do. Can you touch on, like, for example, someone out there who, because I just had a comment that came up, and of course, my biggest support is for the listeners out there. She said, I would love to learn more. And that's what made me think if you don't want to learn more, something's going on. But we have those people out there who are sitting there saying to themselves, and touch on this, I'm scared. It's not for me. What can you kind of tell them to, help them besides just saying, come into my webpage and listen to me? What can you tell them?
You know, what's really interesting about social media is that it's this big, broad community. We have the ability to connect with people on a brand new level. I've had so many doors in my businesses opened to me simply from being online, from being present, and from having conversations. It doesn't have to be something where you're always marketing and you're always asking people to buy things and you're always showing off the things that you're creating. It really is about conversation. It's about building up a community and having those connections with people. So, as you are creating your content, you can simplify that. You can step it back to show what's happening in real time, to show what's happening in your business, and to open those doors for communication. In my businesses, I got on TikTok and I didn't think I was going to like TikTok. I thought it was for teenagers and it was dancing and it was lip syncing, and that just wasn't for me. But when I took the time to study it and to really learn what it was, it came down to conversations. It came down to sharing parts of your life and your business with the community who would then surround you because they wanted to learn about that, because they wanted to see more from you. And so I was then able to spend more and more time inside of this platform, and I 7x'd my sales in a single month, not from asking people to buy my books or to buy my products, but simply from being there, from showing up, from having conversations. And yes, some of my stuff was shown on my bookshelves behind me with my stories. Some of that I actually showed people what was on the inside of it. I was showing them the behind the scenes of my business, but all of that allowed them to learn about me, to trust me, and to see what I was doing in real time and relate to me as a real person, which then allowed them to take those steps to buy my books, my products, my services, my courses, and to really get involved in what I was doing. So as you're creating content, you're literally just romanticizing your life a little bit. You're showing the tiny things you're doing day to day. You're filming yourself in real time. So if you're typing on the computer, or if you are organizing your bookshelves, or if you are packing for a vacation, you can create content around that very easily and put it online, and you will find an audience who wants to learn these things. So it takes a little bit of time to get to that point. But once you do, then you've got a community and you can go from there.
It is crazy. It's almost like you're building your own small fan base or something. And this technology kills me of how great it is, right? I saw this where I was researching a little bit more on your page where TikTok, because I I got a TikTok. I was so
Okay.
against it, hesitant. And my grandkids got them and all now, and so I'm just like, all right, fine, let's do it because, and I justified it in my mind because you have it, I'll get it. So I didn't want to be like, oh yeah, I just want a TikTok, but I tried it and I tried one of the dances that she wanted me to do, and I think I broke a hip, so I was like, nope. I don't want to be able to twerk. So let me just create content like you said. I'm going on vacation or something more my age type, right?
Yeah.
But on your page, I saw some new feature that they have where you can do what's on your phone live on TikTok, or something. You can show people exactly what's happening. I think I'm saying it. Am I
You
semi
can live
right with
stream.
that? Okay, live stream or something like
Yeah.
right where you're doing it. So I was like, so now maybe you're on vacation and you're kind of live streaming exactly what's going on. People can
Hmm.
almost tell you, oh, can you go back over to where the dolphins were? Or can you go back to that
Yeah.
flower plant? So you're interacting with them. So you just came back off vacation, I think I heard. Where did you
Good.
go? What food? That's my thing. Anytime someone goes on vacation, I don't care about the sights. Tell me about the food. No, but tell us what you want to share with us and the listeners about your vacation.
Oh, I love it. I just went down to Florida. I was visiting with a friend, and we got to go all over the state. It was actually quite fun. We spent a day in Disney, which of course has incredible food. I got some great ice cream at Epcot inside of the World Showcase over near France. And we had the opportunity to go to an elephant preserve and meet some elephants. We also got to use a website called Resort Pass. And this is insider information. I haven't told my audience about this. This is actually coming in the next few days for my audience. But Resort Pass allows you to buy access to different hotels and different amenities for just a couple of dollars. So for $30 one day, I got to go to a pool with a gigantic waterfall and poolside food service. I got to go to a different pool that had very Caribbean vibes for $20 for the entire day, even though I wasn't staying there. So we had the opportunities to go and do a lot of really cool things all around Florida and get all those beachy vibes so then I could easily create my content. And yes, I did live stream while eating my poolside lunch. So if you were a fan of salads, I highly recommend checking out the salads at those poolside avenues because they're really good.
I'm gonna tell you, I did. I watched, and because I almost even found myself just without even um, thinking about it, be drawn into it, right? So here I am, I watched the video and I'm seeing like, whoa, that hotel, and I'm watching you walk into the pool and stuff. So it's almost like, what was the movie? It was a Jim Carrey, Truman or something like that. I think came out a while ago where they made it seem like his life was being televised initially,
Okay.
but it really made me be like, oh, then the next video, and I just drifted into your videos without even thinking, or kind of like, let me watch the next one. It was just seamless and it made me really want to do it. So that was really great. I want to touch on a little bit more of your books, right? And then we'll get back into the social media thing. I want to jump into that because I have think I've seen a trend of where people are wanting to express themselves more. Either they wanting to get a podcast themselves or write a book, right? So, can you talk and tell people a little bit about your process, and then we'll talk about your books because I think I heard about they're being rated highly ranked on Amazon, and that has to be such a great feeling. But can you touch on that just a little bit?
Absolutely. So, when it comes to writing stories, there are three main ways of writing fiction novels. You can either plot it, where you figure out step by step exactly what's going to happen inside of your story. And by doing it this way, you know exactly what's coming. You never have writer's block. You never have to worry about where you're going to go. You know exactly what's going to happen, and you just have to write it. Now, the opposite of this is called pantsing. Pantsing means you just start writing and you make it up as you go. You have no idea what the ending is going to be, no idea what the middle is going to be. And it can be a little bit harder for people to write this way because you don't have that anchor point at the end to then write to. This often means in editing, you're going to have to deal with a lot of plot holes and errors, but a lot of people do like kind of figuring it out as they go. Now, my process is right in the middle. It's called planting, and it means I plot some things, but I pants other things. So I'll know the beginning, the middle, and the end of my story, and a couple of the main stepping stones in between, but then I fill out the little pebbles in between as I'm writing, and I kind of figure out where to go from there. So with me, I always have a general concept for my stories. I know my beginning. I know some of the middle parts, and then I have an ending. I know exactly where I'm writing to, what my cliffhanger ending is going to be if it's part of a series, or what that final moment is going to be if it is a standalone novel, and I have the ability to write to there. Now, most people do take several months to write a story to a year or more. I'm a little bit of an outlier when it comes to writing stories, and there are a handful of people like me, but please do not think that this is normal for most people. I can write a full length novel from start to finish, from the moment I get that concept in my mind to turning it into my editor, fully written and self checked, in 9.5 days. Now, that is not something I started out doing. I had to work to that point. But because I created a strategy with my writing, I'm able to do it very quickly. And then I'm able to knock out a lot of stories very fast so I can keep my readers occupied all the time.
Wow. I like when you said 9.5 days, I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? I don't think I can even finish a pizza in 9 days if it's just sitting on the counter or something. Like that is so crazy that you, but I think that comes with the passion that you've learned over time and put into it, right? Because I think sometimes what people do is they want to jump into an arena or learn something new, and then they expect to have the ability to do it as easily as what they may hear or see someone else do it, right? It's the old adage I hear comedians or people say, it took me 15, 20 years to become an overnight success, right? People don't
Yeah.
see the work that went behind. I picture a writer or someone who's doing a book as they're writing a piece of paper, then they crumple it up and throw it away. And then they look over in the corner and it's like 50 sheets of paper and they finally settle on something and then they go, I've only got one sentence. It's a big process. Do you get like, I know you say you can do it in 9 days, but do you ever get that writer's block kind of thing that they say? And if you do, what are some methods that you kind of do to get out of it?
When I was a new writer, I definitely experienced writer's block. But because I've created a strategy and because I've been doing this for so many years, I've been a published author for 5 years and I have written for several years before that, I now do not experience writer's block. It is a very rare occurrence for me, and if I do hit a wall, it only takes me a couple of minutes to figure it out. Now, if you are dealing with writer's block, there's a couple of things that you can do. You can take a break. Try writing a different scene. Try writing the same scene, but from a different character's perspective. We just want to get out of the mindset that we're in where we're stuck and work on something else that's creative. Now, if that's not going to work for you, I recommend stepping away for a day. Go do something else creative to keep your mind engaged and then come back to it. That could be something like a photo walk or taking a pottery class or doing something creative that involves movement and activity and doing something else and then come back to that particular scene where you're stuck. Now, if you are really, really stuck, there are a couple of things to keep in mind. One of the best pieces of advice that is floating around in the writing community is just to get your character out there. You just need to get them out of that scene. So think of the most obscure thing you can think of. Perhaps your characters are stuck inside of a cafe and you can't get them out. Well, the most obscure thing that you can think of could be a dinosaur running down the street, crashing into the cafe, and everyone has to run out. It doesn't fit with your story, but it moved them away. Now you can highlight that scene in red and you can keep on writing. When you're done with your story, you know your characters in your book so much better than you do right now in the moment, and you can come back and fix that one scene later on. If, however, that's not working for you either, this might not be the right project for you right now. Maybe it's time to put that project up on a shelf and you can come back to it in a couple of months and try a different project. There is no shame in putting something on the shelf for a little bit of time to work on something that's going to speak to you more right now and then come back to it later on. You're not ignoring it, you're not taking it away. You're just focusing on something that's going to work for you right now so you can move forward rather than be stuck and not move any way forward.
this has been like one of those enlightening things where we sit back and say, you know what? I didn't think of that. But when you hear it come from someone else and their perspective, it does make it seem like, oh, it makes so much sense. And that one thing where you talked about the dinosaur running down the street into the cafe, I had a dream about that once. I'm like, does she know my dream? So we're going to be going heading towards the wrap up portion, but I want to jump back into the social media portion. But for everyone who's listening, I've been placing some of her social media handles up on the screen. But for our listeners on some other platforms, you can find her primarily just Googling KM Robinson. Several things will come up with her handles. Is there anything that I've missed? Anything else that you'd like to share to the people to let them know?
You can always come hang out with me at kmrobinson.com for social media marketing and business growth help. That will link you out to all of my courses and my webinars, and 90% of the content that I do is completely free to help you grow your businesses. And of course, if you want to come hang out in my author life, you can come over to kmrobinsonbooks.com where you can learn more about my fiction work. You can also hang out with me on YouTube, KM Robinson, and YouTube KM Robinson Books, and on social media Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at KM Robinson Life.
That's right. So if that went by a little too fast, great. Guess what? You can rewind it. That's one of the beautiful parts of technology, right? So if anyone has some interest in learning more about the writing process, like she said, learning about social media, because I'm telling you, I was on his website and it's absolutely beautiful to me. I'm going to actually, you know what? Do you mind if I bring up the website just so you can maybe just
Sure.
kind of look at it? All right, let's just take a look at it and kind of tell anyone who's watching, and for the listeners, we will go back into it. So here
Absolutely.
I'm looking at your website and I see courses, I see work with me, speaking. She has tutorials, freebies. You gotta, I think I saw something about a couple of your books that might
Yeah.
still be there. I don't know if they're still there. Her reels, her TikToks. She has a live streaming course. Ladies and gentlemen, this is so much information. I'm telling you, if you don't go to her site today, follow her today after you finish listening to this. Business tutorial videos on Instagram. Instagram is a complete loss for me. I'm telling you, and I'm gonna go watch that. But there's so many different things on his. Oh, and then for those who are listening, she's been featured and worked with a lot of companies. Or Logitech, NBC News. I'm looking and seeing Streamlabs, CBS News. This is such a great thing. And again, I'm highlighting this work with me, right? Just company trainings. If there's any companies out there, courses, speaking, just action plans. Man, this is so exciting. Um, I s- am. I just can't even find the words for it. I'm really excited for this and excited for you and the growth that I've seen us and you go through from a couple of years ago to me where you at
Yeah.
now. What else is next on the horizon on a scene for K.M. Robinson? And tell you, every time I hear that name, it resonates book author to me. Because every time I hear book author's names, it's initials name. But what's next on the horizon for you?
In terms of my books, I've got quite a few that I'm working on right now. So I do a lot of fairy tale retellings. So if you're a young adult or new adult fan, I've got some new twisted fairy tales in the works. I've also got some adult thrillers and mysteries that are coming up soon. And we just did some really interesting research for some of those thrillers that may or may not have involved me doing a ride along with the local police. Now, I
Ooh.
also have some really great courses coming out soon. We are launching Social Time Saver, which is a combination of IG Reels for Business and Livestream Action Plan, plus some extra goodies I've got for you. So that is coming later this fall. And I'll be speaking at multiple virtual and in person conferences to help entrepreneurs level up what they're doing inside of their businesses over the next couple of months. So I'm going to be very busy from now until the end of the year.
Wow. So I am excited to see that and hear about that. And once you really blow up, I'm going to come to one of your book signings and I'm going to be in a line full of like 200 people waiting to get their book signed. And I'm going to be like, excuse me, security guard, she knows me. Can I just. Can I just get my book signed really quick? So, I want to thank you very much, and I just want you to hold it for 1 second. I'm about to do an outro and let everybody know I want to thank them, but I really want you to just hold on for just one moment, okay? Thank you so very much. Let's bring this back up. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been just another episode of Just One Question with me, Lion Flood. I am so grateful for you all listening, watching. If you have any requests, if you have any questions, if you have any guests that you would like to see or hear on the podcast, let us know. We're excited about it. We do read your emails. Maybe not the full sentence, but we do read them. We do read your messages that you give. We appreciate that. So thank you all again. Enjoy your time. And until the next time and until the next show.
Yeah, yeah.